uh, over and over again if I want to. And this, you can use this to go into any menu, any setting, and click anything you want, just like you can do with auto input.
Feature highlight, ADB Wi-Fi.
We have the new ADB Wi-Fi action, which allows you to run any ADB command, like in Tasker. And execute it with elevated privileges. For example, I have a bunch of these apps that I don't want on my Aware device, and with this action I can simply enable or disable an app. So in this example, I want to disable this Dick Health app here. Over and over again if I want to. And this, you can use this to go into any menu, any setting, and click anything you want, just like you can do with auto input.
Feature highlight, ADB Wi-Fi.
We have the new ADB Wi-Fi action, which allows you to run any ADB command, like in Tasker. And execute it with elevated privileges. For example, I have a bunch of these apps that I don't want on my Aware device, and with this action I can simply enable or disable an app. So in this example, I want to disable this Dick Health app here. So I write health, over and over again if I want to. And this way, you can use this to health, go into any menu, any setting, and click anything you want, just like you can do with auto.
Feature highlight, ADB Wi-Fi.
We have the new ADB Wi-Fi action, which allows you to run any ADB command, like in Tasker.
Hi guys, in today's video we are going to see how we can create a swipe up gesture. So the main requirement for me is that I want to change the YouTube shorts videos by swiping up, so that is why I want to create this one. So in order to create a swipe up gesture, you need to create a task first. So let's just create a task. I will just add it like swipe up 2. So name can be anything. So here you will need a auto input plugin. So I will just use plugin and go to auto input. So now this is the confusing part, that what we need to add. So if you go with gesture, it will become very complicated and I was not able to perform anything with this. So I choose action v2. So with action v2 we can choose. So with action v2 we can choose different actions. So as you can see, it will ask for, do you need any help in setting up the input actions? So I will just use yes, because for swiping up gesture you need coordinates and it is really hard to know what coordinates you want. So I will just use yes. And now it will show all bunch of gestures input you can think of. So I will use swipe. So as you can see, if when we do this action, it is swipe up, swipe down. So depending upon the usage, you can just do things like this. So I will just use swipe, and now it will ask, want to manually write the text you want to swipe or find it on the screen. So by writing text, it means that what type of coordinates you want. So if you swipe up, you need to click on some point and then swipe up. So that is the point he is talking about. So I will just use find, or you can add it, you can add manually, so if you know it. So I think most of the time we don't know it, so I will just use find. So in find you will see similar screen. So here it will tell you that what type of where you want to click, and then from that it will choose our swipe action. So I will just click on maybe on this screen here. So I will just click this, and after clicking this I will just click on this. Then from that it will choose our swipe action. Where you most of the time we don't know it, so, or you can add it, you can add manually, so if you know it. So I think most of the time we don't know it, so I will just use find. So in find you will see similar screen. So here it will and after clicking this I will just on this screen here. So I will just click this, and after clicking this I will just click on this. Where you want to click, and then from that you can add it, you can add manually, so if you know it. So I think most of the time we don't know it, so I will just use find. So in find you will see similar screen. So here it will tell you that what type of where you want to click, and then from that it will choose our swipe action. So I will just click on maybe on this screen here. So I will just click this, and after clicking this I will just click on this. So as you can see it is been recorded. So I will just use point because element will not going to help me, so let's just choose point. So now as you can see it will ask for the swipe direction, so I want to do a up, so it should be from down to up. So I will just use up from here, and now it will ask that how many pixels you want to swipe up. So I think any pixel will do, so let's just go with the 200 default value and click OK. So now it will tell you that want to swipe point from this right now, you want to test it out. So let's just test it out and see what happens. When I click on yes, it will perform the swipe up action. So as you can see it goes from home screen to menu, and I think it's doing just the way we want. So I will just leave it like that, and it will ask do you want to add more actions. I don't want to add any action, so let's just click on no. And it is saying that copy, you can go to the tasker, so let's just click on the OK, and it will take back us to tasker. I will just choose the tasker, and here again the tricky part, you don't need to click on anywhere, you just click back, and now you will see the points which we have added, and then it is showing up and 200. So that's how you added a up function. So I will just click on back and function. So I will just click on back and click back. So this is our action. So let's just try it out. So I will try it out. Let's just it's not going to work on this. So maybe I will just choose some maybe browser or something, because we have choose. So as you can see we have click on this side, left side. So when I click this function or run this function, it should swipe up. So when I click on the play, it should function, but I don't know what happened. So I'll just do it again. Nothing is happening. Let me see my last swipe up gesture command and see how many pixels we want. So it was working fine. Maybe I think point is related to the home screen. So I'm not sure whether we can choose home screen here. I will just click cancel on it, and actually it's really hard to test it. So I will just show you how I'm testing it, or what is the purpose for me to test this. So as you can see I have a profile, and here I'm calling this from auto and swipe up gesture, and if you go inside the swipe up gesture, it's, so as you can see I have a profile, and here I'm calling this from auto and swipe up gesture, and if you go inside the swipe up gesture, it's very similar to this. As you can see it's showing swipe and point and then up and 200. So it was working fine. So when I double click my button from my watch, it just do the swipe up function. So let me just so yes, it is working fine. So let me just oh sorry, I don't think I can show you, but this is that. So I'm just running it again. So I'm clicking 2 times from my watch, and it is swiping up. Let's just try to use the same functionality with our newly created task and see whether our new task is working. So that's our task, and see our new task is working. So that's our task, and see. So as you can see it's working fine. So let's just see what I was showing earlier. So I have configured my task to be executed from the watch. So when I double click it, it will swipe up. So let's just see when I double click. So as you can see, it's been like swiped up. So that is how easy it is to implement this. So you can just open YouTube and double click it. It will just keep on scrolling up. So I will not show you from the YouTube because of the copyright thing. So I hope you get the idea, and I hope this video will be some help to you guys. And let's just meet in the next video. Bye. Take care. Actually, it's really hard to test it. So I will just show you how I'm testing it, or what is the purpose for me to test this. So as you can see, I have a profile, and
Smartwatches should be smart. When your alarm sounds in the morning, why should you need to pick up your phone, silence your alarm, unlock your phone, open your favorite news app, and put on your watch, when you can simply put on your watch? AutoWear is a Tasker plugin that turns your Android Wear device into a real smartwatch by allowing you to put the best ever apps on it, your apps. First off, AutoWear fully integrates with Auto Voice, so remember all those voice commands you already.
Alright team, we're transitioning to Flack, but tasks are still going to be on Bullfrog.
Did nobody see my poppycock post? There was no clappy claps on it.
Already set up? Turn to channel 25, skip song, play music video for Do the Evolution by Pearl Jam on my PC. Those work with AutoWear too. AutoWear gives you many tools that you can use to automate stuff, besides voice commands. Bedroom light. You can use floating icons that always appear above everything else no matter what you're doing. Floating icons that always appear above everything else no matter what you're doing. Notifications. Watch events like a shake. Or screen on and off, for example. AutoWear allows you to do stuff directly automatically on your watch, so you don't even need to be connected to your phone to automate it. You could have an icon that keeps your screen on for whatever time you like, or that controls your screen brightness without ever having to contact your phone. With all this, you could create a fully functional TV remote.
Có ánh mắt biết cười mà nắng nóng dập tắt nụ cười.
Chào anh em đã đến với kênh Lâm Smart. Vài hôm trước mình có đánh giá cho anh em về Galaxy Watch Ultra. Tuy nhiên thì con này nó sẽ không phù hợp với đại đa số người dùng bởi kích thước của nó khá to. Thế cho nên là Samsung tiếp tục ra mắt Galaxy Watch thế hệ 7 với hai phiên bản là 40 và 44 mm phù hợp với nhiều dạng cổ tay hơn. Và điểm hấp dẫn ở trên con Galaxy Watch 7 này là nó vẫn thừa hưởng cấu hình mạnh mẽ cũng như nhiều tính năng từ Galaxy Watch Ultra, nhưng mà giá thành của nó lại rẻ hơn một nửa. Hiện tại mình đang thấy ở bên Di động Việt có chương trình ưu đãi cũng là quà tặng rất hấp dẫn. Anh em sẽ có thêm một dây đeo hơn 1 triệu này, và nếu mà mua cùng điện thoại hoặc là thành viên của Samsung Member thì anh em sẽ còn được giảm giá nhiều hơn. Chi tiết về chương trình này thì mình sẽ để đường link ở dưới mô tả video, em để xem và tìm hiểu nhé. Còn bây giờ thì mời em xem review của tôi. Mình cũng chưa đánh giá về Galaxy Watch phiên bản cỡ nhỏ bao giờ, cho nên là lần này thì mình sẽ khá lệ nhá. Thành thật công nhận bản 40 mm nó sẽ khá nhỏ nhắn và rất là dễ thương, thích hợp nhiều dạng cổ tay, và đây cũng là lựa chọn tốt nếu như em có kích thước cổ tay nhỏ. So sánh với Galaxy Watch Ultra này thì em thấy là nó sẽ rất gọn gàng. Mình thấy là Samsung họ đã làm quá tốt với những gì mà họ đang có trên thế hệ Galaxy Watch rồi, cho nên ở Galaxy Watch 7 thì nó vẫn kế thừa thiết kế của các đời trước với dáng cối giản mà không thay đổi gì nhiều, vừa thời trang mà khá là dễ phối đồ. Năm nay thì sẽ không có phiên bản Classic như mọi năm. Bản Classic thì nó có benzen vật lý như này, còn đối với bản Watch thì nó có benzen cảm ứng. Thì anh em lướt ở phần rìa màn hình này nó cũng tương tự như là benzen vật lý thôi. Một thông tin thú vị có thể anh em chưa được nghe tới nhiều là đối với bản Watch thì nó có benzen cảm ứng, thời trang mà khá là dễ phối đồ. Năm nay thì sẽ không có phiên bản Classic như mọi năm. Bản Classic thì nó có benzen vật lý này, còn đối với bản Watch thì nó có benzen cảm ứng. Thì anh em lướt ở phần rìa màn hình này nó cũng tương tự như là benzen vật lý thôi. Một thông tin thú vị có thể anh em chưa được nghe tới nhiều là Watch 7 có khung vỏ vật liệu là nhôm Euro 2, tăng cường độ bền và chống trầy xước tốt hơn so với dạng nhôm thường. Tất nhiên thì nó vẫn giữ lại ưu điểm của một đồng hồ có vật liệu nhôm là trọng lượng nhẹ, 50 gram thôi, rất ổn. Vật liệu này thì về lĩnh vực quân sự thì nó áp dụng vào trong xe bọc thép là tàu chiến nhá. Mặt khác thì con Watch 7 này nó
there's a new feature in AutoWare where you have a screen like this, for example, this light bubble screen. I can now, besides tapping it so you can turn on and turn off the light, you can all use the bezel here to rotate it and change the light's brightness. So if I rotate it this way, the brightness will be turned up, and if I turn it the other way, sorry about the interference, if I turn it the other way, sorry, the light's brightness will be turned down. Of course, since this is AutoWare and Tasker, you can use this for whatever you want. You could use the commands the bezel sends and control anything on your phone, anything on your watch, anything in your home automation, or anything else you can think of. So this is the new
Không phải tất cả các kem đánh răng đều giống nhau. Kem đánh răng Colgate Total mới giúp ngăn ngừa hiệu quả hơn gấp 3 lần nguyên nhân gây ra các vấn đề răng miệng. 100% người dùng tham gia thử nghiệm đã cải thiện tình trạng răng miệng tốt hơn. Hãy chủ động ngăn ngừa các vấn đề răng miệng với kem đánh răng Colgate Total mới.
Chào các bạn. Sau hơn một tuần sử dụng con Samsung Galaxy Watch 6 Classic á, mình đã có thể chia sẻ được với các bạn một cái trải nghiệm đầy đủ, kể cả luôn về thời lượng pin. Và thứ hai là nó rất là đẹp, cái ngoại hình của nó vô cùng ấn tượng luôn. Là một người đã xài rất nhiều con smartwatch khác nhau, nhưng Galaxy Watch 6 Classic thật sự để lại cho mình một cái điểm nhấn rất mạnh về ngoại hình. Bây giờ mời các bạn coi video để nếu như mà bạn nào đang tính mua Samsung Galaxy Watch 6 Classic thì các bạn có thể tham khảo để coi liệu các bạn có nên mua nó hay không ha. Rồi bây giờ thì mời các bạn vô này. Đồng hồ này tại vì rất là đẹp nha, nó đẹp theo một cái cách mà mình không thể diễn tả hết bằng mọi từ ngữ. Mình ít khi nào khen những con đồng hồ là đẹp, tại vì cơ bản là smartwatch bây giờ nó khá là giống nhau các bạn, cùng lắm là Apple Watch thì nó hơi vuông vuông hơn, thiết kế của nó khác nhau thôi. Nhưng mà ở lần đầu mình thấy con Watch 6 Classic này thấy ngoài đời nha, trên hình thì không ấn tượng bằng thấy ngoài đời, thì lúc đó mình mới cảm thấy ủa sao mà nó lạ dữ vậy, và đeo lên đúng thiệt là nó đẹp. Cái thiết kế này á nó rất là cổ điển nhưng mà nó không có bị già, nó vẫn rất là trẻ trung, nó vẫn rất là tinh tế, nó vẫn rất là đẹp. Và nếu như mà
The Samsung Galaxy Watch is coming, thanks to a mix of official teasers from Samsung and Google, plus a healthy dose of juicy leaks. Now the Galaxy Watch 7 already holds the crown as one of the best Android smartwatches out there, but let's be honest, it didn't bring a ton of changes compared to the Watch 6. So, what's different this time? Well, instead of dropping another Ultra model, rumor has it Samsung is going back to its roots with a Galaxy Watch 8 Classic. Yeah, the classy one with the rotating bezel might be making a comeback. Earlier this year, there was some buzz about Samsung, kind of a square circle hybrid. But honestly, that feels like a long shot. Samsung's been all in on round watches for a while now, and even if the idea was floated, we're betting the Watch 8 sticks with the good old circular look, hopefully with a fresh twist. Late last year, some model numbers surfaced. One of them, SNL 505U, is supposedly tied to the Watch 8 Classic. And more recently, someone spotted firmware testing for 6 different Watch 8 models, 2 sizes of the standard Watch 8 and 1 size of the Watch 8 Classic, with both Wi-Fi and sizes of the standard Watch 8 and 1 size of the Watch 8 Classic, with both Wi-Fi and LTE versions. So yeah, options galore. Normally, Galaxy watches come in 2 sizes. Think 40mm and 44mm, and the Classics usually do too. But this time, it looks like there might just be 1 size for the Classic. Could Samsung be trying to streamline things, or are they going for that big, bold Ultra-style vibe? Battery-wise, don't expect any huge leaps. The Watch 8's larger battery clocks in at 435 mAh, which is only slightly bigger than the Watch 7's. So we're probably looking at the same 40-hour battery life, give or take. That whole Squircle rumor, it came from a March 2024 report claiming Samsung was thinking about switching things up, maybe trying something they hadn't done since the Gear S. Honestly, it sounds like Samsung's trying to avoid more copycat talk. So yeah, circular design seems safe. Specs-wise, the Watch 8 should bring more of what we're used to. 1.3 and 1.5-inch AMOLED screens, 2 gigs RAM, 32 gig storage, dual-band GPS, IP likely sticking around. It's Samsung's speedy 3nm processor with 5 Cortex cores. Still, we wouldn't be surprised if Samsung upgrades it to keep up with Qualcomm's new Snapdragon View 5 and maybe boost those AI features. Speaking of AI, Google's Gemini is on its way to Wear OS, and it could arrive just in time for the Watch 8 launch. So expect some smarter, more helpful features powered by AI, especially with Wear OS 6 on the horizon. At Galaxy Unpacked 2025, Samsung teased some cool new additions to Samsung Health. There's a new stat called Vascular Load, which sounds a lot like Fitbit's Cardio Load or Apple's Training Load. Basically, it tells you how hard your heart's working throughout the day. They're also rolling out a personal health coach powered by AI think tips on sleep, workouts, weight loss, the works, and real-time answers like you're chatting with your own virtual trainer. Plus, Samsung's bringing more nutrition tools, like tracking your antioxidant index and offering tailored meal plans and recipes based on your health goals. Oh, and that upgraded bioactive sensor with all the colorful LEDs. It's back. Last year, those extra sensors only got used for one feature, the Ages Index, but Samsung promised more were coming. Maybe we'll finally see something new, like blood glucose tracking, but that's still TBD. So, what do you want to see from the Galaxy Watch 8? A fresh new look, smarter eye features, better health tools? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you're hoping for. Until next time, stay healthy, stay hyped, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Mới vô mày buồn bèo khuyết gấp đôi hàm lượng kẽm, mẹ mê bé khỏe, bé thèm vì ngon. Mua điều hòa Daikin ngay, trúng vé đi Nhật mùa hè. 10 chuyến du lịch Nhật Bản trị giá 120 triệu đồng cho 2 người, cùng hàng ngàn giải thưởng khác với cơ hội trúng 100%. Sở hữu điều hòa Daikin mới, nhận quà lý tưởng ngay.
Chào các bạn, mới setup được một cái góc quay mà mình có thể bung chân máy ra để lên bàn và mình có thể quay nó ngay lập tức trong khi vẫn có cái background giống như hồi xưa á. Rồi bây giờ quay trở lại chủ đề chính thì ở trong cái video này mình muốn chia sẻ với các bạn về một số cái kinh nghiệm của mình khi mà mình đi chọn smartwatch. Smartband là một thể loại khác ha. Nếu như mà các bạn muốn mình làm video về smartband thì các bạn có thể comment. Tại vì thật ra thì smartwatch hiện nay á, nó cũng đa dạng và nó có nhiều lựa chọn hơn á, cho nên khi mà đi lựa chọn thì nó cũng nhức đầu hơn. Bây giờ mình nói về smartwatch trước đi ha. Thì mình muốn chia sẻ với các bạn là cần phải lưu ý những gì khi mà muốn đi mua đồng hồ thông minh. Tại vì bây giờ smartwatch thứ nhất là nó rẻ, thứ hai là nó rất là đa dạng mẫu mã từ nhiều hãng khác nhau, hãng lớn cũng có, hãng nhỏ cũng có, với lại qua từng năm thì nó cũng update rất là nhanh. Thôi bây giờ thì không nói nhiều nữa, vào video luôn ha. Trước tiên một cái lời khuyên của mình dành cho những bạn nào mà đang tính khi làm việc các bạn mới lấy ra, chứ các bạn đi smartwatch lúc nào bạn cũng phải thấy nó hết, lúc nào nó cũng nằm cố định trên cổ tay của các bạn. Đó là lý do mà tại sao những con smartwatch nào đẹp thì các bạn nên ưu tiên. Đẹp ở đây là nó phụ thuộc vào chính bản thân bạn chứ không phải là người khác nói. Ví dụ như là mình thấy con Huawei Band 8 đẹp đi, hay là mình thấy con Huawei Watch Fit 3 này đẹp. Nhưng mà nhiều khi bạn không thấy nó đẹp thì sao? Bạn thích một cái đồng hồ mặt tròn hay là bạn thích một cái đồng hồ mặt tam giác gì đó thì cũng đâu sao đâu. Cái quan trọng là bạn phải thích nó và bạn phải so với lại một cái đồng hồ khác, nhưng mà với cái đồng hồ thứ hai đó thì bạn lại thích thiết kế của nó hơn thì hãy ưu tiên mua những con nào mà các bạn hài lòng với thiết kế. Thật ra khi mà các bạn ngồi nghĩ kỹ về vụ này thì nó cũng sẽ giống lại rất nhiều những món đồ công nghệ khác. Nếu như mà cái món đồ mà nó không tạo được cảm hứng cho bạn, nó không khiến cho các bạn muốn đụng tay vào mỗi ngày thì các bạn mua chi xài nó chi cho cực, thà là không xài, đúng không? Cho nên nhắc lại là nhớ lựa một cái smartwatch nào mà các bạn hài lòng với thiết kế của nó nhất đã. Song song với thiết kế thì các bạn cũng nên để ý về cảm giác đeo. Thì bây giờ smartwatch có những con đeo rất là nhẹ, ví dụ như là những cái dòng mà thường là giá rẻ rẻ thì đeo nhẹ lắm, hay là thậm chí những con như là Apple Watch hay là những con Galaxy Watch series 7 chẳng hạn, những cái con mà không phải là những cái dòng cao cấp hoặc là quá ultra thì lúc đó các bạn đeo vẫn ok nha. Đối với lại con Huawei Watch Fit 3 mình đang đeo đây thì mình cảm thấy rất là dễ chịu, rất là thoải mái, thậm chí con này
tận hưởng trọn vẹn thật sự thiên nhiên, mang khát khao sữa sạch tươi mát bao năm qua bên
Bây giờ mời các bạn coi video để nếu như mà bạn nào đang tính mua Samsung Galaxy Watch 6 thì bạn khảo để coi coi liệu các bạn có nên mua nó hay không ha. Rồi bây giờ thì mời các bạn vô này. Bộ này thì rất là đẹp.
लास्ट ईयर मैं एक वीडियो अपलोड किया था द प्रोसेस। वो बस एक इंट्रोडक्शन था कि कैसे हम लोग वीडियो बना सकते हैं। इस वीडियो में मैं आपको बताऊंगा थोड़े टेक्निकल टर्म्स, कौन से रेजोल्यूशन में शूट करना है, किस फ्रेम रेट में शूट करना चाहिए और बिट रेट क्या है। तो दोस्तों, ये एक सीरीज़ है फिल्म मेकिंग का जिसका नाम है द प्रोसेस। इस सीरीज़ का ये पहला एपिसोड है जिसमें हम लोग बात करेंगे रेजोल्यूशन, फ्रेम रेट और बिट रेट। तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, कैसे हैं आप लोग। मेरा नाम अफजल है। अगर आप इस चैनल में नए हैं तो प्लीज़ सब्सक्राइब करें। मैं मोस्टली ट्रैवल ब्लॉग्स बनाता हूँ, ट्रैवल वीडियोस बनाता हूँ, सिनेमैटिक वीडियोस बनाता हूँ, बी रोल, नेचर,
Nhiệm vụ ảnh nhóm vui.
Video resolution, video frame rates, and video bit rates, as well as the relationships between them, so I thought I'd make a little explainer video to help everyone understand them. The easiest way to think about video is that it's basically a bunch of digital photos stacked together in sequence. Check this out. Here's 1 second of a video. Now let's go through that video footage one frame at a time to see what it looks like.
कि कैसे हम लोग वीडियो बना सकते हैं। इस वीडियो में मैं आपको बताऊंगा
In a photo at this exact moment using the same camera settings, it would look pretty much exactly like this. And if you'd taken a couple of dozen photos in sequence and then recorded audio along with them, you'd basically have a video. Let's talk about video resolution for a moment. Video resolution is just the number of pixels in the video. In general, the more pixels you have, the sharper your image will be. Here's an extreme example to show what I mean. Here's some video footage at 20 by 20 pixels, and here's that same footage at 100 by 100 pixels. It's a lot clearer, right? This is basically the same idea as resolution in photography. It's megapixels and all that. Video resolutions are typically described in terms of the number of pixels across by the number of pixels high. For example, I'm filming this right now at a video resolution of 3,840 pixels wide and 2,160 pixels high, which is a pretty high resolution. If your bandwidth and display support it, you're probably seeing this image looking pretty sharp. Obviously though, it's pretty clunky to say things like support it, you're probably pixels high, which is a pretty high resolution. If your bandwidth and display support it, you're probably seeing this image looking pretty sharp. Obviously though, it's pretty clunky to say things like 3,840 by 2,160. So the most common resolutions have developed nicknames for convenience or marketing purposes. You've probably heard of things like SD, HD, 4K, and so on. These are just different resolutions. Amusingly, standard definition, 640 by 480, is now considered ridiculously low quality, so nobody really uses it much for video anymore. Even HD or 1280 by 720 is kinda low quality by today's standards. As of the time I'm making this video, your best bet is generally to stick with a video resolution of at least full HD or 1920 by 1080 resolution, often just called 1080 or 1080p. If you want something more robust than that, you can move up to Ultra HD, often called 4K, which is 3840 by 2160. As I mentioned, that's what I'm shooting on right now. Some cameras support resolutions between those two, such as 2K. Those are great quality and you can use those as well. Newer or more expensive cameras can also support much higher resolutions like 6K, 8K, and even 12K. Those are all awesome, of course, but unless you're doing super high-end commercial work, they're almost certainly overkill. It's like shooting an IMAX movie or something. If you're making corporate videos or wedding videos or YouTube videos, you just really don't need that much data. Nobody's really going to notice the difference. So why not just follow the principle of bigger is better? Well, because there are always trade-offs. The more data you record, the more strain you put on your camera, your storage, and your computing power. A 4K frame is basically 4 times the size of a 1080 frame, so those files get really big really fast. Some cameras will overheat if you record 4K for an extended amount. It's going to fill up your hard drives 4 times faster. It's going to be 4 times harder for your computer to edit. It's worth thinking about those things before just cranking your settings to the maximum. Let's take a second to talk about color. For each one of the pixels in the video resolution, the camera basically stores a number representing what color it saw when it looked at that part of the image. Just as the size of the video footage can affect the quality, so can the color depth. Right now, I'm shooting this video in 8-bit color depth, which means there's a limited number of colors that can be displayed for each pixel. Specifically, it's 16.7 million colors. That may sound like a lot, but our eyes can actually distinguish between more colors. Specifically, it's 16.7 million colors. That may sound like a lot, but our eyes can actually distinguish between more colors than that, so some of the subtle in-between colors get lost. Some newer cameras can handle 10-bit or 12-bit means depth and 10 or 12-bit color depth. You can also see it in smooth gradients, where recording an 8-bit color depth can create what's called banding, because there's just not enough color data to create a smooth transition between two colors that are near each other. Now, does this mean you absolutely have to have a camera with 10-bit or 12-bit color depth? No, not at all. 8-bit color depth is still pretty amazing, and in the vast majority of situations, most viewers would never notice the difference. Camera nerds like you, frame rate equals how much raw data needs to be recorded per second. And that's going to be some ridiculously large number. And that's important because all that data can cause problems for your camera, your SD cards, your hard drive, your computer, and so on. The system can fudge it a little bit and say, just make this one white for the next 17 frames or whatever. That allows us to record video using less data, which makes life easier for everyone. Video bitrate basically defines the data throughput in terms of bits per second. The higher the bitrate, the better quality video you'll have, but the larger the files will be. So what bitrate should you use? YouTube has an information page with some good recommendations to use as a starting point. For example, for 4K footage at 24 frames per second, they recommend a range of 35 to 45 megabits per second. When you're shooting 1080, you can get by with as few as 8 megabits per second. The right bitrate for you will depend on what your footage looks like as well. In a shot like this, there's not much motion happening, so a lot of the pixels are staying mostly similar from frame to frame. That's really easy to compress, so I can use a lower bitrate with very little problem. However, when I was shooting more off-road videos and things were moving fast all the time, it took me forever to realize that the reason my footage looked like garbage was because of the bitrate of the action cameras that I was using. I actually reduced the resolution from 4K to 2K, but I increased the bitrate, and then the footage looked a ton better. Higher numbers aren't always better. You have to find the right balance. Also, keep in mind that you'll be thinking about video frame rate, bitrate, and resolution in 2 different places. First, you'll set these variables in your camera. For example, right now I'm shooting this in 4K at 24 frames per second at a bitrate of 60 megabits per second. Then you'll do the same in your video editing software. I'm going to export this video with about those same settings. The bitrate is a little higher than YouTube's recommendation, but my laptop can handle it, so I'm okay with the trade-off. In most cases, it probably makes sense to keep the settings about the same between your camera and your editing software, although there are situations where it can make sense to change it. For example, if you live somewhere where bandwidth is a big issue, you might shoot in 4K, but then export and upload in 1080. Or if you're worried about hard drive space, you might shoot in 1080, but export to 4K. It won't look quite as good as actually shooting in 4K, but it'll probably look better than just shooting and exporting in 1080. The one you generally don't want to mess with much is the frame rate. If you're shooting in 24 frames per second, you'll generally want to edit and export in 24 frames per second as well. The basic reason for this is that the frame rates don't divide nicely into each other. If you put 24 frame per second footage on a 30 frame per second timeline, it has to stretch it out and figure out what to do with the overlapping frames. Some might get doubled or blurred together with other frames. Modern software generally does a pretty good job of this, but if you have a lot of motion in your footage, you'll start to see
How's it going, everyone? John here. Welcome to the channel and welcome to today's video. Today I want to talk about bit rate and how it applies to live streaming and why it is a very important factor when it comes to setting up your encoder, or even if you're streaming on console. I noticed on the Xbox Series X they have it to where you can set bit rates now. So I wanted to go over this, that way you can understand how it affects your stream. But before I do that, I want to talk about today's sponsor. So today's sponsor is own.tv. If you're looking for professional overlays that you can completely change to your own liking for your own channel and everything like that, you can, because they are all modular. So you're going to be able to have full stream packages that we have everything you need right out of the gate. And if you also need some other stuff for your stream, like animated emotes, static emotes, sub badges, bit badges, stuff for your stream deck, they have a ton of things for you. So be sure to go ahead and take a look at the description below. And if you do decide you want to buy something, use the promo code CreoVox at checkout, so that way you can save 50% on your on your entire order. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into today's part of your internet speed. And I'm going to transition us over to the computer in just a moment, that way you can kind of see how to test your speeds and understand the different types of bit rates that are available in just a moment, that way you can kind of percent on your entire order. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into today's video about bitrate. Now, when it comes to streaming, your upload speed is the most important part of your internet speed. And I'm going to transition us over to the computer in just a moment, that way you can kind of see how to test your speeds and understand the different types of bit rates that are available based on the speed number that you get and everything like that. But when it comes to your bit rate, the upload speed, like I said, is the most important. And everything like that. But when it comes to your bit rate, the upload speed, like I said, is the most important factor, because that is what you have to have a lot of whenever it comes to streaming. When your download speed is really high, it really doesn't mean much. Now, to have a lot of whenever it comes to streaming. When your download speed is really high, it really doesn't mean much. Now, I always recommend that you have a wired connection, whether you're on a PC or if you're on a console, because having a wired connection going directly to the modem or directly to your router is going to give you the most consistent speeds compared to doing it through Wi-Fi. If you can only do Wi-Fi, then I recommend getting like a gateway or something. That way you can still plug it directly into that extender in some way to get a better overall speed, versus just doing it How's it going, everyone? John here. Welcome to the channel and welcome to today's video. Today I want to talk about bit that same Wi-Fi signal.
All right, team, we're transitioning to FLAC, but tasks are still going to be on Bullfrog.
Did nobody see my poppycock post?
Obstacles that internet speed has to go through when it's going through Wi-Fi, the weaker it gets. Say the router is upstairs and you're downstairs in the basement, or you're downstairs on the first floor, you're going to have to go through the floor, walls if it's in a different room, and the more obstacles that internet speed has to go through when it's going through Wi-Fi, the weaker it gets. The other thing too is if you have too many devices on that same Wi-Fi signal, then it's going to be even weaker. So let's say you have 20 upload speed for your upload, right? And you're doing it through Wi-Fi. You have your phone, you have a tablet, console, smart TV, home device, whether it's like an Alexa or something. All those different things will chisel at the Wi-Fi because it's connected to it. Now, if you have stuff on the Wi-Fi and you're wired, then you'll be able to prioritize the wired connection over the Wi-Fi connection. And if you really want to get into it, you can go into your actual router and you can set it to where a certain device gets higher priority for it versus some of the other devices. That's way more advanced stuff. If you really have questions about that, I can go about that in a different video. But for right now, just know that Wi-Fi connection, you're going to have to go through obstacles, and also you're going to have other devices possibly attached to it, which will chisel at the total speed. That's why I recommend wired. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump over to the computer, and I'll kind of show you how you can test your speeds, and we can talk about the different types of bit rates for Twitch and for YouTube. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is go to Google. If you run this, you're going to see this going to download first, and then once it's finished, it will then, and I'll show you another, well, the latency and everything like that. But having this is pretty good. This is very good for live streaming, and I'm on a wired connection. So the next one is actual speedtest.net, and we're going to do it again. It's going to choose a different server. You can change the server if you want to, and we're going to see if we get better results through here, or did we have better results through the first one. But again, it's going to run the download first, and then it's going to run the upload. All right, download is finished. And then we're just going to wait for the upload to start. There it goes. Took a minute there. But it seems like we're pretty consistent. Let's say this is showing about 23, and here we had 22. This roughly will give you a good idea of what your speed is. Again, this is a wired connection. I would still recommend you doing this even if you're on a Wi-Fi connection. That way you can see what your Wi-Fi connection is currently once you have everything attached to it. And once you have that, then I'm going to link this for you, but this is the stream.twitch.tv/encoding. And what this will show you is the different types of specs that you can do. So if you are using a graphics card, this is going to be right here. So if you're using an NVIDIA graphics card for your overall settings in your stream encoder, this is what you're going to want to use. If you're using the actual processor, then this is what you're going to want to use. Now for console, if you're streaming on console, the only thing you really have to pay attention to probably is these first two. So if you're able to select a resolution for your stream, then you can select the resolution there, but this is what you need to pay attention to, is the bit rates. So the kbps, this is just, in easy terms to understand, 6,000 means you have 6 upload. Now you don't want to use your full 6 upload. This is where it gets a little tricky. So if you have 20 for your upload, you can do 6,000, no problem, because that means you would have a 20,000 kbps if you have 20 upload. So you have plenty of wiggle room if you're doing a 6,000. But if you only have, let's say, 10 up, you do not want to do 6,000, because if you have other devices on there, like phones, computers, and stuff like that, if someone's streaming Netflix, this is going to cause a lot of lag, a lot of crashing of the stream. So you're going to want to bring it down probably to about 45 to 3,000, maybe 3,500. And you will want to bring your resolution down too. So pay attention to the bitrate and the resolution, and also what your upload speed is. Now, if you're on YouTube, YouTube's got a few drop downs here. Most of the time, for YouTube, people are able to choose their resolution that they want to watch in, unlike with Twitch. So with Twitch, if you are streaming in 1080p, 60 FPS, and it's very laggy and everything like that, people are not going to be able to watch it because they can't change the resolution. Even if you're an affiliate, it might not be giving you the transcoding that you need, but if you're a partner, then it doesn't matter. But sometimes they do give you the transcoding for affiliates, but if they don't, then people are not going to be able to watch because you have your settings too high. So I usually recommend the sweet spot of either doing 1080p 30 FPS or 720p 60 FPS. That way people will be able to watch it for the most part for wherever they are. Because if you look, the bit rates are the exact same. So 4500 here. And that's not bad. 720p 60 FPS, it's still a good stream quality. You know, people are going to be able to watch it. They're going to still be able to have pretty high visuals to watch. So I would recommend this area right here for kind of like the middle ground. But when it comes to YouTube, you can, let's say we want to do 1080p 60 FPS. It's still 4500 to 9000. So 4500 at the low end, so it might be a bit grainy, but with 9000 being at the highest, that's still pretty
you.